The slap came before the silence. 1 second, my mother's hand was shaking in the air. The next, it collided with my face so hard my head snapped sideways. I heard gasps. I tasted metal. My diamond earring skidded across the marble floor and disappeared under a table of half-drunk guests. 50 people watched me bleed politely. "Hand over the keys," my father said, voice flat, as if he were asking for the salt. "Don't embarrass us." I looked at my sister in her white dress. She wouldn't meet my eyes. She already knew. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I bent down, picked up nothing, because the earring was gone, and walked out. In the parking lot, I made one call. "Come now," I said. "Bring everything." An hour later, a man walked into the reception hall, and when my mother saw who it was, she started screaming. I used to believe family meant safety. I was the responsible one, the quiet achiever, the daughter who moved out early, worked late, bought her own penthouse overlooking the river. I paid my own mortgage. I sent money home every month. I covered my sister's tuition, her wedding venue, the flowers, the band. They called me independent with pride. What they meant was useful. The penthouse was my reward for years of silence, late nights, swallowed opinions, skipped holidays. I never asked for help. I never needed approval. I thought that bought me respect. I was wrong. The first red flag came 6 months before the wedding. My mother asked for a copy of my keys. "Just in case," she said. "Emergencies happen." I laughed and said no. She smiled too quickly. Then my father asked about my mortgage, the interest rate, the deed. Casual questions, delivered with forced cheer. My sister started making jokes. "You live alone in all that space? It's selfish." Selfish? For owning what I paid for? I noticed how often they talked about family assets, how my mother referred to my penthouse as ours when speaking to relatives, how my father stopped mentioning my job and started mentioning my address. I didn't confront them. I listened. Silence is a powerful teacher. 3 weeks before the wedding, I found the truth by accident. A courier knocked on my door, certified mail, legal documents addressed to my parents but listing my penthouse as collateral, transfer papers, a plan to temporarily sign my property into my sister's name so she and her new husband could start strong. My signature was forged, neatly, carefully, by someone who had practiced it many times. I sat on my kitchen floor for a long time, not crying, just feeling something harden behind my ribs. They didn't ask because they didn't plan to accept no. That was the moment grief turned into geometry, lines, angles, strategy. I hired a lawyer the same day, quietly, one of the best. I pulled bank records, text messages, emails, voice notes where my mother bragged about how I'd come around, witness statements from relatives who heard them call my penthouse a gift. I installed cameras, logged entry attempts, tracked every lie. I didn't confront them. I let them believe the wedding would corner me. They were right about one thing. I did come. The demand happened during the reception, right after the speeches. My father clinked his glass, smiled, then said it. "Now that the family is complete," he announced, "it's time for fairness." He gestured toward me. "Give your sister the keys." I laughed softly. "No." That's when my mother slapped me. The room froze. Power always reveals itself when it thinks it's entitled. I walked out. I made the call. When I returned an hour later, the music had stopped. The man standing beside the head table wore a dark suit and a calm expression. My lawyer. Behind him, 2 uniformed officers and a process server holding a thick envelope. My mother's face drained of color. He introduced himself politely, explained the forged documents, the attempted fraud, the surveillance footage, the recorded conversations, the criminal charges pending review. He handed my parents the papers. My sister dropped her bouquet. My father tried to speak. No sound came out. My mother screamed my name like it was a curse. She lunged toward me and was gently stopped by an officer. I didn't move. I watched as the lie collapsed under its own weight. The guests whispered. Phones came out. Someone started crying. Not me. My lawyer finished calmly. The penthouse remains solely hers. Any further contact will be through counsel. He turned to me. Shall we go? I nodded. As we walked out, my mother's voice cracked. How could you do this to us? I paused, looked back, met her eyes. You did this, I said. I just documented it. Outside, the air felt clean. Later, alone in my penthouse, I poured a drink and sat by the window. The city lights blinked like witnesses who had always known the truth. I touched my bare earlobe where the earring used to be. Some losses are cheap.